Sean Davis from the Federalist, the CEO and co-founder, is joining us now. Sean, I saw this, and I wasn't surprised by the acquittal just because of the jury, but I don't really know exactly what does that mean. I mean, it implicated Clinton and the media, but are we done now?
Well, I think we're probably done with running cases in the District of Columbia, where the jury clearly did nullification, which is they basically don't even listen to the facts. They decided coming in, they didn't like the case, and that was going to be it. So I think if you actually want convictions, that case has to be the end of bringing indictments into D.C. because it's similar to what you see in elections in North Korea or Iraq where the dictator gets 99% of the vote. It's obscene.
And it was weird. I mean, you had one juror come out and say, so what if he lied to the FBI? Everybody does it. There are bigger crimes. Then lying to the FBI? Really? When you're talking about the future of our country and corruption and trying to take out a seated president? Really? I mean...
Compare that to the Michael Flynn trial. Recall that Michael Flynn was completely set up, that his name was leaked in order to destroy him and the Trump administration early on in the presidency. And when evidence came out that he was completely set up, that he didn't lie, and that the DOJ and the prosecutors themselves said there's no case here, a corrupt judge in the D.C. District Court said, no, actually, I'm not going to let you pull these charges. So compare that to what just happened with this DNC lawyer, and it tells you everything you need to know about the so-called justice system when it comes to political people in D.C. It doesn't exist.
I mean, I really didn't think it would even make it to court. I didn't even think about the court being so screwed up. I didn't think about the D.C. court, and it's. That was just a blow. I knew it was coming because, once I saw the jury selection, there's no way this is going to go anywhere. Now, tell me what it means going forward. Anything?
Well, I think going forward, absolutely. I think we learned so much from how Durham prosecuted this. We learned, for example, that Hillary greenlit that entire completely bogus Alpha Bank hoax against Trump during the 2016 election. We learned a lot of additional information in there. And I think just reading the tea leaves, and of course I could be wrong, Durham is building a much, much bigger case. And I think the whole Alpha Bank thing with Sussmann lying about it showed just how completely corrupt the FBI and the media are. They were working together. They were sharing information. They were seeding things with each other to do this sort of circular confirmation thing. I think we're going to get a lot more about how the entire Russiagate investigation launched by the FBI against Trump in 2016 was itself a hoax from the beginning. So I expect that Durham will unravel that, but we'll see.
Okay, so my speculation was at the very beginning that he was hoping that Sussmann would turn and he could get the things that he needed from him as he would turn on, the Clinton campaign. He didn't turn, but he did. He gave all that information in the end anyway. It all came out in the end. So was this originally just a foundation-laying case and a search for the truth that Sussmann couldn't get out of people in his investigation?
Well, it could be because we actually, Durham was able to get access to a whole bunch of emails he didn't have previously that the DNC and Hillary campaign and Fusion GPS were all pretending were privileged communications with their attorneys. Durham was able to significantly pierce that during the trial. And to me, kind of the foundation goes back to when that Inspector General report came out from the Department of Justice, IG. And in that report, the IG said, there's no evidence the Russia thing was political and it was legally predicated. And on that day, Durham himself came out and issued a statement that he, based on his review of the evidence, didn't think that was true. We've not really heard anything about that since that day, I think at the end of 2019. And I believe that is where we're going to end up. We are going to find out what exactly started this bogus investigation.
So, so do you know yet, has Durham telegraphed at all, what comes next?
Well, we have he hasn't telegraphed it. We have another indictment sitting out of Igor Danchenko, who is the so-called primary subsource for all of the nonsensical lies peddled by Christopher Steele in his dossier against Trump. This guy's a Russian national living in the U.S., used to work at Brookings, shocker, who had peddled all sorts of nonsense, including that infamous videotape that didn't exist of Trump in a hotel in Moscow. Right. So that trial is still upcoming, and that trial is being held in Virginia. So I think that'll be a different, that'll play out differently than the D.C. case against Sussmann.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been watching what's happening in the Northern Virginia school district, I'm not sure it's that different. But maybe this time will be different. Thank you so much. I appreciate you watching this. If you had to pull one thing that everybody should get out of this, it is
that if people at the FBI don't go to prison for this, the rule of law in this country is dead.
I hate to say I agree with you. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate it. Sean Davis, CEO and co-founder, you bet, of the Federalist. I mean, that was the gut punch yesterday. I expected it to happen, but that was the real gut punch. And then it was followed by the juror that said, what's the big deal lying to the FBI? What's the big deal? I mean, first in the 90s, it was, so he lied about sex. He's married. It's no big deal. Okay, well, you don't lie to the FBI. You don't lie under oath. But it was just about sex. It was nothing important. This is about taking down the president of the United States. This is about using the full force and image of the Justice Department and everything else to stand against and mount a campaign against a sitting president. That's not just about having sex. But now the same group of people with the Clintons involved again, lying doesn't really matter.
It doesn't seem to matter. Other than that, though, what's gone on here? It doesn't seem like that big of a deal when you explain it that way. It's just about taking down a president.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
And look, we all know that there are all sorts of, of awful things that happen in the backgrounds of campaigns, right? I mean, we all know that people leak information, they do opposition research,
Nixon left office because someone tried to hack in. At the time, it was physical because you couldn't hack in. Mm-hmm. Tried to get information from the Democratic, office in Washington, D.C. There was nothing of value there.
Yeah.
But Nixon, and then they didn't continue to spy and, any of that stuff. He left office because he was going to be impeached for doing that. You can't even get a low-level attorney
right.
in trouble for lying to the FBI about a bogus thing that just didn't happen just before the election. It ran during his presidency. They didn't stop.
The Nixon thing was another time, right? And one, I think, you've told the story many times of your dad, right?
Yeah.
Around the Nixon time, saying that it had changed everything. And maybe it was part of the thing that got the ball rolling on this in the wrong direction.
Well, in the wrong direction, it did, because that's why everybody went to journalism school. All the people who are at the head now, they all went to journalism school because they saw that two reporters could topple a president. And they learned the wrong lesson. They now think that they can topple any president because they don't like him.
And as I was saying, we all know terrible people are involved in these campaigns all the time. They're people that are, some of them are fine. A lot of them are terrible. It's a terrible industry. It's created with people who want to just destroy others. Like literally their job is to destroy the lives of other people as you go through these campaigns. And many of the strategists are on this. And that's part of the reason why I'm less, I don't know, activated, interested, riveted by what happens to the Clintons themselves as I am to what the media did with all this information and how they handled it. I mean, they took this information from them. They told us it was true. They also tried to destroy a president and many, many people's lives, including low-level underlings of Trump. We've talked to several of them. And there has never been a moment where they said, holy crap, we got that one wrong. Hey, wow, we thought Donald Trump was really bad. Therefore, we jumped the gun on this. We believed all the bad stuff, and that's our fault. And here's what we're going to do in the future to correct it.
Yeah, no, they don't think they made a mistake.
No, it's not one family or one group of shady campaign
and I never
operatives.
thought the Clintons are going to die rich and unhappy, and that's enough for me. They're never going to go to jail. Anybody who thinks they are, you're sadly mistaken. They're never going to go to jail. I didn't expect that, but the fact that the FBI gets away with it and the media gets away with it in collusion with the Clintons is insane. What have you taught attorneys? What have you taught campaigns? As long as you're on the right side of the FBI, they'll help you. That's not good. Not good.